Namaste and welcome viewers to another brand new episode of Mirror Prime. I'm Ashish Parekh. It's another year and another Hall of Shame entry for the national capital, Delhi. For the sixth time in a row, India's national capital is the world's most polluted capital. With PM 2.5 levels at 91.8 microgram per cubic meter, Delhi isn't just about WHO's safe limit. In fact, it is 17 times over that. That's not bad air, viewers. That's a slow-cooked gas chamber that you and I are living in. It's not just Delhi wheezing under toxic blanket in India. 13 of the world's 20 most polluted cities are in India. An unlikely topper has emerged. Assam's Barinhat has now taken the global crown for this time year. In fact, Delhi, Faridabad, Noida, Gurgaon, all of these cities are keeping the leaderboard nice and smoky. Meanwhile, life expectancy is also taking a nosedive in India. The effect is real. Indians are losing 5.2 years of their lives just by breathing in India. As for Delhi, the BJP has now come to power after 27 years, promising a change. One of the major reasons why they came to power was because they said that the pollution issue in the national capital and across the nation will be changed. People are now expecting a better future where air purifiers are not just a luxury, are in fact a luxury and not a necessity. We'll be discussing about this and a lot more in detail, but before that, let's take a look at the reactions that have come in so far.
City cannot afford to have so many cars and so many multi-story buildings. Because of that, there's a congestion and that is causing pollution. That's what I feel. So what you should do is decongest Delhi. It will become a better city.
So what is one thing that the pollution itself is rising day to day? We have seen multiple reports and everything. And I think somewhere or the other, everything is getting affected by it. We are not realizing it now, but eventually we are looking at the score, top 10 polluted cities in country, and the reports are very bad.
Anything that you would like for the government to do in this particular direction?
Maybe on the basis of the reports and everything that needs to be taken care. I think the alerts and everything needs to be shared so that the awareness is more.
They are more interested in vote banks than anything else.
Do you think with the change of the government now that the BJP comes to power,
Maybe. At least they are not making any false promises.
I wish they could do something about it so that we can live in a place which is less polluted. Otherwise, you have everything out here, but आपका quality of life ही circumspect रहेगा, तो फिर how is it going to be of any benefit to any of us?
Now that the BJP is in power, do you expect some change?
I hope so. I hope they do something about it. I heard they're doing something about the Yamuna, so I hope they do something about the pollution. सबके agenda में number 1 होना चाहिए.
पिछले 10 साल से जिस तरह की ये सरकार चली है, हमें हर तरह की बीमारी देके गई है. उसमें पोल्यूशन भी हर साल दिल्ली जो है वो पोल्यूशन में टॉप पर रही है. जब से हमारी सरकार बनी है, हम निरंतर इसके ऊपर काम कर रहे हैं. जो हमने आपसे वादा किया था दिल्ली के लोगों से कूड़े के पहाड़ हटाने का और यमुना जी को साफ करने का और यमुना जी पे रिवर फ्रंट बनाने का और उसके अंदर बोटिंग चलाने का, हमने ये तीनों कामों के ऊपर तेजी से काम शुरू कर रखा है. ये पोल्यूशन को कम करने के लिए हम निरंतर काम कर रहे हैं. हम केंद्र सरकार से, माननीय देश के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी से हमें पूरी सपोर्ट है. निरंतर इसके ऊपर काम हो रहा है. लेकिन ये जो आप रिपोर्ट पढ़ रहे हैं, मैं आपको ये आश्वासन देता हूं कि ये जो बीमारी हमारे गले में डाल के गए हैं, आने वाले सालों में ये आपको खबरें ना चलानी पड़े, इसके लिए हम काम कर रहे हैं.
All right, so that was the new Delhi Environment Minister there speaking, and there are multiple angles to this story, how bad the situation is, the health aspect of it, and whether the new double-engine Sarkar is going to make a difference. Joining me right now, Pradeep Mahar, leader of the BJP, Bhavrin Kandari, who's an environmentalist and a member of My Right to Breathe, Dr. Mrinal Sircar, Director and Head of Pulmonology and Critical Care at Fortis Noida. To everyone, welcome on the show. First, let me start by asking Bhavrin Kandari. Bhavrin ji, you're a part of an organization called Right to Breathe. In a country where 13 of the cities are in the top 20 of the world's most polluted, 6 are in the top 10, where do you breathe?
Yes, naturally, Rishabh, because we have never kind of brought in the real changes, that is the systemic changes which are needed. We have only concentrated on cosmetic changes, on anything that's visually appealing, to the voters. So a lot of time has been wasted instead of working on, of course, we've done some investment in air quality monitoring, etc. But there was clearly, lack of coordination between the state and central governments, or even on enforcement of emission norms on industrial regulations, or even vehicular emissions, etc. I don't know if you've seen recently, or even on my Twitter feed and my, when citizens like us. First, My Right to Breathe is also not an organization; it's a citizen movement. There are citizens, desperate citizens, who are looking for clean air, and so there is every day there is huge number of violations that are being reported. There are violations where threats for 2-3 years, and you're saying the same things again and again, showing videos, and now fortunately with these phones and the amazing coverage, and everything is done by citizens. They're showing you on construction dust, on violations in factories, and in your neighborhood, areas, and
Right.
waste to energy plants, etc. But then, obviously, if there is no will to solve that, there is nobody, or the government and authorities who is willing to make that change. Our children in Delhi, it's a 2019 study. Every third child has damaged lungs. Why? Why are we allowing this? This is like it's a genocide. You're responsible for this, and
It's a health
unfortunately,
crisis
the
for
health
sure,
ministry,
Bavreen ji.
etc.
And again, I want to get in Dr. Mrinal here. Dr. Mrinal, this is a very serious issue. The stats that I have right now from this particular report, air pollution in India cuts the life of an average Indian by 5.2 years. 1.5 million Indians die every day due to causes which emerge out of air pollution. Dr. Mrinal, looking at the statistics, how is this not a health crisis?
Well, it's definitely a health crisis, and it's staring everybody in the face. Uh, Unfortunately, the pollution doesn't look at the political boundaries, the state or the cities. So, across the country, we have so many polluted cities. Probably entire northern belt is in negative news in the media, especially in winters. So it's a problem which is not got better; is only got worse with time. And systematic changes are needed at every level, whether it is the kind of transport we have, so using greener fuels or even better electric uh, vehicles, changing, kind of making public transport so much better that people find it less worthwhile to take out their personal transport. These are some of the changes which obviously needs doing. Then we are a country which is progressing at breakneck speed. So there's a lot of construction happening, both at personal level as well as at the government level. So dust mitigation is very important, and it needs to be enforced with an iron hand, because that's very important. Then way our cities have come up. You go to a Western
I'll
world
come back to that point.
city,
You made a very interesting statement.
every inch is
You made a
covered.
very interesting statement about how this seems to be an issue with the North cities. In fact, all the Indian cities that feature in the top 20 world's most polluted cities, in, of course, the top 20 rankings, all of these are North Indian cities. What exactly is going wrong in the northern part of the country? Is it because of the environmental factors? Is it because of the social factors? What's going wrong?
So I think it is certainly something to do with the weather, because as we see in Delhi NCR, the pollution levels shoot up every winter. So it's something to do with the weather. But then weather is just magnifying what is already there. It's not that we have AQI of 10 and suddenly in winter it is 500. So it's AQI of 200, 300 rest of the year. And then when it touches 500, then it's center page news in every media. So weather just magnifying what's happening on a regular basis.
All right. Dr. Mrinal, you're making it, of course, very clear to us what exactly could be the reason for it. And let me now get in our guest, Pradeep Mahor, as well from the BJP. Pradeep, you've been waiting for a long time listening to a panel of experts here, and you don't obviously have someone from the other side of the spectrum to counter you. But the reason for that is because your party has come to power in the national capital after 27 years. And one of the major reasons why people have voted for you is because you promised a cleaner and a pollution-free Delhi. Now, Baurinji here on the broadcast, on the panel right now, just said that the problem is that a lot of political parties only make cosmetic changes, not systematic changes. What is the BJP doing to ensure that the national capital of the nation does not become a national embarrassment?
Look, people have a lot of expectations from BJP, and whichever state we are winning, even in the central government, they are. So people have a lot of expectations, and we very well understand that we have to fulfill those expectations because this was a main agenda as far as these elections are concerned. So definitely we need to do something for this, and the plan of action is ready. We are dealing multifaceted, because pollution is not something that can be dealt with one kind of a specific plan. There has to be a comprehensive, research and discussion on this, and this has already been done. The plan is in place. The execution has already started. Water pollution, you must have seen the Yamuna River. The crisis has been going on since long as far as Delhi is concerned. The water is very, very polluted. So standardization of water, sewage treatment plants, so that whatever water is coming, because there are so many sewage treatment plants and still the water is polluted, that means something is wrong with those sewage treatment plants. We need to take a corrective measure so that water coming out from the sewage treatment plants should be up to a standard. So that standards are being checked. If there is some issue with those plants, that is being rectified. Even there is some solid
Mr. Pradeep Mahar,
so yeah.
You are saying that the BJP is ensuring that everything is sorted, everything is put in place. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen this particular list. The number one most polluted city in the world is Barnihat. It is in Assam. And BJP is in power in Assam since 2016, if I'm not wrong. What is it that you've not done there that you now plan to do in Delhi? Now, people are going to turn around and say, if the BJP has not managed to get pollution in check in a state like Assam, how do they promise to do it in Delhi? What's going to be the difference?
Cleanest city of India is Indore, and the second cleanest city is Surat, right? So both are BJP ruled states. So you can have different arguments, I can have different arguments, but ultimately, no, what we have to do is we have to work for cleanliness of Delhi. So there are heaps. In fact, you have mountains created out of those garbage. So that needs to be treated, and that treatment is going on. As far as Delhi is concerned, we are committed that the pollution levels have to go down, and it will not go down just by fancies, bio fancies. There has to be scientific ways by which it has to be done, because pollution, the source has to be dealt with. Like as far as Delhi pollution is concerned, air pollution, if I talk about, that is contributed by majorly industrial pollution, vehicular pollution, or dust. Right. So all three areas are being taken care of.
What are the steps that your government is taking here? What are the steps that your government is taking to ensure systematic changes? Because the problem is, the allegation from a lot of citizen activists also is that a lot of changes are cosmetic in nature. You have a catchy phrase, you use it so that it sticks to the people, but the problem is it does not really make a difference on the ground when it comes to an overall pollution cleanup.
Look, first of all, I was discussing about the water pollution. So for water pollution, we already have a blueprint of Namami Gange project, because Ganga pollution was a big issue. Now it is resolved up to an extent. So we have seen this Kumbh happening this time, and people were really happy. So that shows that is successful. I have seen the STPs working, and they're working really well. So that same blueprint has to be applied on Yamuna. For air pollution, because that is a major area, because you can remove the heaps easily, but as far as the air pollution is concerned, you have to take some major steps. And major steps have to, because Delhi is a highly populated city, right? It's a capital city and it's highly populated. So ultimately, you cannot make it a sparser one. So ultimately, you have to do something as far as the vehicles are concerned. So improving green public transportation, because all those buses running on CNG are going to be removed. This decision has already been taken. all those buses will not be there. So all green buses or e-buses will be there. Second thing is, there is also one kind of a research going
Okay.
on that people
Let
are
me,
not
let me, yes, Mr. Pradeep, of course, a lot of changes that are bringing about, whether it will actually reflect on the ground or not, I think we'll have to
it
sit
has
back
to
5 years
reflect.
later
It
and
has to
actually
reflect.
discuss on that. But
When you bring
keeping
those
in,
changes,
keeping in mind that the effect that we're already seeing now, I want to get Dr. Mrinal in here. Dr. Mrinal, for example, I was looking at this report in detail. Delhi's PM 2.5 level, pollution level is 1,736 times the WHO limit. Dr. Sarkar, this is it's out of my mind how people continue to live in a place like this. Just help us understand, just help the common person understand how dangerous it is to stay in a place like this. It's basically a gas chamber.
It is a gas chamber. There is data from 1980s studies in US that a ppm change of 10 increases the number of strokes and number of heart attacks by 2.5 folds, just 10. And look at the kind of pollutions level we have. So of course it's very high. This may be one of the reasons we are getting so many young people coming with strokes or coming with heart attacks. This is something we don't
Dr.
usually
Mrinal,
talk
sorry to
about.
interrupt you. I dare say this
Also, the
is a
pollution
pandemic
level.
in itself.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
This sounds like a pandemic in itself. The way you're describing the numbers and the direct effects to heart attacks and
Yes.
strokes, it's almost
Yeah.
like a pandemic in itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. Also, from the days of my being in medical college, with probably just two cancer centers in the big government hospitals. Now, every hospital has an oncology center, and there's so many patients coming with cancers, including a lot of young people. One really wonders whether pollution is contributing, not just the air, but maybe other kinds of pollutions as well. So these are also some things to be looked at. And of course, the direct effects are easy to understand. When you inhale such highly polluted air, the lungs get badly affected. You get the people with existing lung disease like COPD or asthma, they really go in a bad state every time the AQI goes up. Post Diwali, we see this every time. So suddenly your OPD is full of patients who have been stable till few days back, and suddenly they're not well. So it's visible to us what's happening, and there is enough data existing already in the world that the pollution levels that we are seeing is highly toxic. So obviously we need to do something about it.
All right. Now, Bhavrinji, you were earlier talking about how a lot of data in India is not even collected. And this is something that this particular report also talks about, the fact that we don't even have a proper coverage of rural areas, which means that by the next report, by the time the next report comes out in 2026, probably 20 out of the top 20 most polluted cities will be from India, because some of the most polluted towns are not even covered. You don't even have monitoring stations there.
Is a very important part of accepting that there is a problem and then leading it to solutions. If you're not monitoring, or even when the days when there's pollution even in the cities, you shut down these monitors, it's not going to help anybody. First of all, we have to admit and we have to understand the problem, and then move from the denial mode to coming and then solving it. So, again, coming to the, monitoring, then the systemic changes, you have your pollution boards have taken vacant posts, your, people on the ground, whatever the authorities, whether it's your MCT or even for that matter, your police, everyone has vacant posts. Why is that? So who is going to come on the ground and look at these complaints? This is extremely important that, we
But
cannot
Bhavrinji,
let
the problem is it's not just about filling the
emission
posts,
go,
it's about
or any
having
violation
proper
go
experts
unreported.
in place. It's not just about
Absolutely.
making sure that the
Stronger
government jobs are
enforcement.
filled. It's also to ensure that people with the right technical skills are in place.
Absolutely, you cannot think like you cannot bring in bring in cloud seeding kind of suggestions and cut Aravalis and the ridge and give permissions to cut 5 trees an hour in a city that's choking. So the policy, the thinking, it has to be very scientific, and you have to do the right things.
Okay,
There is
Bhavrinji,
no
a direct
time
question to
waste
you.
now.
You've seen the BJP action plan. What do you think of it? What's your first opinion of it? The BJP has already put out its action plan. What's your opinion on it?
You're asking me? Sorry, Ashish, did you ask me?
Yes, Bhavrinji, the question is for you.
Yeah.
The BJP's action plan, what do you think of it?
Yeah, but of course, it's forthcoming. It's steps forward, but there are flaws. There is a problem. Like I said, the cloud seeding. There is, talking. You see, tree plantation is not anything green. You don't need to protect first the tree cover. This is a very wrong approach that we have. These are over 70-year-old trees. You just can't tell. Of course, development is important, but not at the cost of the green cover. It's extremely important to take care of that.
All right. All right. So that's your assessment of what the BJP, the double engine Sarkar, is trying to do. Before we wrap this discussion up, Pradeep Maur, just a couple of minutes left. Your assurance to not just Bhavrinji here on the panel, but all the citizens watching, everyone across the nation, particularly in the national capital, your assurance, the BJP's action plan for the next few years.
Look, first of all, everybody's opinion should be welcome. Even Bhaviji is saying something that should be welcome, that should be understood, and that should be analyzed whether we can do something for this. So everybody is welcome. As far as BJP government is concerned, we bring people together so that everybody can work. Technical people are working, and there has been comprehensive study how to deal with this, because ultimately India is a highly populated country. People living in per square kilometer is higher than any place in the world. So ultimately, we have to deal with things the way we are doing it. We cannot copy anybody, right? So there has to be study. There has to be many efforts that has to be taken, and BJP government is ready to do everything to resolve this kind of an issue, and we are already on to it. And as far as the commitment is concerned, we have committed that within a year.
All right. Bhavrinji wants to respond. Bhavrinji, just a minute left. Quick response, please.
I appreciate, for you to say that twice actually on the show, that yes, city is getting, choked with populated now. And I think a very important step which has happened in many cities of the world is the central government, like central government offices can move out of Delhi. They have nothing to do in Delhi. So these are the kind of changes. These are because, of course, it's all in your hands. You are the you are the deciders. You are the politicians. You're the leaders, and these are the kind of decisions that will really affect the children, the future of the city, and it will make it better. And rather than installing.
All right, a heartfelt appeal there by Bhavrin Kandari to Pradeep Maur and the BJP. Hopefully, those in power are listening, and Mr. Pradeep Maur, hopefully you can pass on the message as well. Dr. Mrinal Sircar, appreciate you as well joining us on the broadcast. And viewers, on that note, it's a wrap on this edition of Mirror Prime. Lots more lined up on the other side. Stay tuned.